Welcome back, Hodlers. Over the weekend, we kind of just did really nothing. We did dip down a little bit, and then we bounced right back up. So overall, nothing really happened. Today, we're going to look at what happened over the weekend. We're also going to talk about a big investment in Cardano DeFi and how JP Morgan thinks that Ethereum is a better investment than Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying that Ethereum isn't a good investment, and I'm not saying that Bitcoin is better than Ethereum, but I am saying that whatever JP Morgan has to say is something that we need to take with a pinch of salt. So first and foremost, we will talk about the Cardano ecosystem receiving $100 million to fund DeFi and NFT space. Basically, a big kind of cash injection to the Cardano ecosystem. This comes from Emergo. Emergo is one of the big investment firms that have been part of Cardano for a very, very long time, if not near the inception. So very, very close there. The CEO, Ken, has said that this is to accelerate the development of the Cardano ecosystem. So directly kind of putting in this money to build an infrastructure around this ecosystem. And this comes with the launching of the Alonzo era. So now we have smart contracts within the blockchain. Obviously, we talked about things like Sunday Swap and Meld. There's also going to be a bunch of other things that are coming through. I know Emergo specifically is working with a couple different protocols. And then obviously we're going to have Layer 2 and everything else with Cardano, which will come with as well scaling solutions. So again, this is hoping to build the DeFi projects, help the DeFi and scaling projects through the Cardano ecosystem. So we should at least see some sort of representation of where this goes in the next little while. Obviously, Cardano is going to do incredibly well over the long term. And I'm assuming that as these dApps kind of start coming to the forefront, start being flushed out on the system, I think we'll see a lot of network effect within the Cardano ecosystem, kind of building up the user base of who is operating within Cardano that's with NFTs and other dApps, DeFi apps, and everything else. Now, going on to JP Morgan. JP Morgan Analysts says that big money are dumping Bitcoin for Ethereum. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I'm a little bit skeptical of that. JP Morgan, to be fair, is not the only people that have said this. I believe Goldman Sachs also said that Ethereum is possibly a better store of value than Bitcoin. Now, that being said, I don't think anyone's dumping Bitcoin for Ethereum, especially not dumping something so hard as Bitcoin. It's not like Bitcoin's ever going to go away at this point. It's pretty solidified within the crypto space. That being said, I still think Ethereum is going to be an excellent store of value and possibly give a higher ROI than Bitcoin, mainly because it's so new and there's less money into the system. So you could generally see there's a more risk in investing in Ethereum, but more reward, right? So that makes complete sense looking at it from that perspective. Now, that reward in anything, in any sort of investment, is never guaranteed. So you do got to do your due diligence and research. Now, obviously, JP Morgan is a little bit bullish on Ethereum, or at least this analyst is. Now, full disclosure, the company hasn't always and still isn't bullish on Bitcoin, because 5 hours ago, this article came out saying that JP Morgan CEO says Bitcoin could raise 10x, but he still wouldn't buy it. And I watched a couple of interviews with him. He obviously thinks it's a fad, it's a scam. He specifically referenced the term, the emperor has no clothes. And if you know anything about Bitcoin, the trust is within the code, the immutability of the blockchain, the secureness, and I guess not anonymity. Like once someone knows your address, anonymity is out the window. But there's a lot to Bitcoin that you don't have with, say, fiat currency, whereas a paper money really has nothing backing it, whereas Bitcoin is kind of backed by the code, how it works. So, is it the emperor has no clothes, or is that really, say, fiat currencies? I'll let you be the judge of that one. But going back to this article, institutional investors are turning away from Bitcoin futures, and I assume going into Ethereum. The big time investors, right? Again, big time investors from JP Morgan, the all-knowing JP Morgan. They have done great things in the crypto space before. We all know JP Morgan is such a amazing company, right? With every best intention of the investors. Now, the reason why I'm taking this tone is because obviously JP Morgan is going to say something to have you do something completely different. Now, on the same token, JP Morgan, even though they're saying, hey, go to Ethereum, they say Ethereum is currently overvalued by 55%, saying that the true asset value is $1,500 for Ethereum. I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, no. So we'll take a look at the chart right now. 1500 Ethereum brings us way below any lows. The last time we hit 1500 was back in April, March, end of March. So that's significant. That's very significant considering where that is and where we are. So I don't think we're overvalued. If anything, Ethereum is undervalued. If anything, Bitcoin is undervalued. The cryptocurrency space in general is pretty undervalued right now, especially when we take a look at, say, something like Bitcoin and we take a look at our regression bands and kind of see where we are on, say, the weekly chart and take a look at where we are in terms of the market cycle. Now you can see that we're just kind of in no man's land. We're just kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, it could be argued that, you know, we're actually at an equitable value for Bitcoin, but most likely we are going to go up. And the same thing could be said for Ethereum, but it hasn't gone down that much compared to where it was. So obviously Ethereum is still holding a lot of value, but I still think Ethereum is kind of undervalued. We did talk about a couple of different articles saying that Ethereum could reach up to 20K to 40K. Again, I'm a little bit conservative here, trying to stay into the $10,000 mark, which I think is very, very realistic for Ethereum to hit by the end of a market cycle if we do hit that $10,000. So I do think we could hit there. Now, I don't think we're overvalued, and I especially don't think that we're overvalued by approximately $1,500. In my opinion, that's a little bit outlandish. I'm sorry, I don't see it. The only reason I could see something like this happening is mainly because of the gas fee FUD. But I think in terms of a store of value, smart contract store of value, I do think Ethereum has a huge place to play in the whole ecosystem. We do have layer 2 that's operating a lot better with Ethereum in terms of Matic, Polygon and Matic really helping out that Ethereum ecosystem. And then on top of that, we have blockchains like Solana, like HBAR, fundamentally doing easier, faster transactions, cheaper transactions than Ethereum. But again, I don't think Ethereum is going to go away in any shape or form. And I do think over time, as you know, ETH 2.0 comes out, we should at least get closer and closer to a deflationary Ethereum at one point, making its scarcity a lot higher than it is today. Now, on the term of scarcity, Ethereum on exchanges is plunging and plunges to 16%. Again, we've been talking about the supply shock over and over, which is why I think it's so funny that we see Bitcoin struggling with these numbers, right? Struggling at the 42,000. It's almost like somebody's really holding down the crypto market at an extended period of time because we have these supply shocks happening on the exchanges, and then we just get bad news. We get China FUD, we get all this FUD. Well, the supply shock is just tightening up and tightening up and tightening up. I don't know if we could go all that much lower. In all honesty, now a lot of people have said that we could go lower, and sure, the possibility of us reaching back to that $32,000 Bitcoin is always there. Is the possibility there to reach down to that $18,000 Bitcoin that people have been calling for? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see something like an $18,000 Bitcoin, not in the near term. I do think, however, whatever needs to happen is going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I think it's got to happen outside of September, and I think it's got to happen with some sort of good news. We have a very shaky economy right now. We have the Evergrande situation in China really kind of shaking up traditional markets. We have China banning cryptocurrency. We just had Binance pull out of some operations with fiat currencies in Singapore. There's a lot going on, a lot of cogs in the wheel here, and there's a lot of reasons why the crypto market is down right now. Now, is Bitcoin a better investment, or is Ethereum a better investment than Bitcoin? I firmly believe that if you want more risk, or if you're willing to take on more risk, the bulk of your investment should be in Ethereum. If you want less risk, the bulk of your investment should be with Bitcoin. That's always been my stance on it. I think that you will most likely receive a higher ROI with altcoins being Ethereum, Cardano, whatever it is, whatever altcoin below Bitcoin, you're always going to get a higher ROI there. With Bitcoin, you have a little bit more security, as secure as a cryptocurrency could be. Now, I still think that this market is still super new. I know everyone kind of looks at this and like, Bitcoin's been around for so long. And I kind of get that mindset a little bit. But at the same time, I think we're in a space where we are still so new. We've only been through a couple of market cycles here. We don't have nearly as much trading data as something like gold or other assets. Really, I think everything is super new. And we're going to see FUD articles. We're going to see people like JP Morgan trying to manipulate us to do one thing that over another. We're going to see Goldman Sachs do that. We're going to see the big players in the background releasing these analyst discussions, not even releasing an analyst's name, being bearish, having their CEO bearish on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in general. We're going to see this type of manipulation happen. This is very indicative of what's happened before in traditional markets, let alone with cryptocurrency. We constantly hear chime-ins from the peanut gallery telling us exactly what we don't want to hear, so we do something completely opposite and counterintuitive to our goals, to what we want to do for cryptocurrency. And the answer is to obviously accumulate at a good price, hold in some sort of long-termish fashion, and then sell at a higher price, a much higher price than your entry price, and then rinse and repeat, right? And that's always the goal of any sort of traditional investor like you and me. And the goal of, say, someone like JP Morgan is going to get us out of the market. So obviously right now Bitcoin is sitting at $43,000, and we did kind of have that little bit of a weird weekend where we really didn't do much of anything. We just kind of went up and down in a set of a couple of doji type candles. And again, I said most likely we would end the weekend in the green. We did kind of, considering the 14th was a super red day, we kind of ended it in a green on terms of the weekend, but we will see exactly where we're going from here. Right now is kind of a day. Same with the legacy markets. The legacy markets are kind of so nothing's really happening right now. So we can expect that. And hopefully, though, in the next couple of weeks, we will see a pickup in price. September is traditionally a very bad month for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I guess we will see what happens outside of September. And we are just a couple of days until that happens. Hopefully this video finds you well, and hopefully you're not doing anything silly like selling all your Bitcoin and going into Ethereum. If you did like this video, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe to the channel for more crypto news and content. And of course, happy hodling.